You are listening to Worship Radio International, the world's #1 online Christian radio station. Check out our website at www.worshipradio.faith or follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Worship Radio INT. This is the future.
Everybody, this is Al with Coaching by Al. Thank you so much for joining me again here on this beautiful, soggy Saturday. And every day is a good day. Just remember that. Above the clouds, it's still shining. Sun is still shining. Everything is still good. Question for you. Was it a setback or was it a setup? I'm going to let that marinate for about a good 3 seconds. With what happened in your life, was it a setback or was it a setup? Sometimes it's hard to tell. How do you tell? How do you keep yourself on the straight and narrow? How do you keep your mind focused? How do you keep your desire and your passion and your hope for your dream to be fulfilled? How do you keep that fueled when it seems like you're experiencing setback after setback after setback after setback? Now, I don't have to tell you, you are more than absolutely aware, just by living your life, I'm sure, that you've experienced times where you felt like you take a step forward. Come on, audience, help me out. Sing it if you know it. And you take 2 steps back. And you feel like you're further back than when you started. That is something that happens to everyone. Why does it feel like it only happens to just, you and to me when we're going through it? Because we're so focused on ourselves, we have a tendency to get very selfish. That's what we're going to be talking about today. How do you get out of the rut? Is there a way out of the rut? How do you get out of the mindset of thinking like, oh my goodness, I'm just experiencing all these setbacks. Every time I try to do something, something comes against me and kicks me back. And then, am I ever going to get there? Am I ever going to make it? Am I ever going to get out? I'm thinking about a very well-known song, especially in, I guess, certain parts of the world. Why do I always feel like I'm just barely keeping my head above water, making a wave when I can? Temporary layoff. My name is Al Wilson. For those of you who don't know, I enjoy talking to people about how you can take what you already know and move forward. That's what I'm all about. Coaching by Al is a program, it's a show, it's a personality, it's a thought, it's an idea, it's a movement in my life to help you get from where you are to where you want to be by doing what you already know to do. Many of us so often know what the answer is. We're just sometimes kind of concerned about moving forward on it. How is it that you become a professional in talking about this, Al? Because I experienced it in my life. I've experienced it. I sometimes still experience it. And you know what I find out? Sometimes you have to do things even when you don't know what to do. Even when you don't know how to do it. Sometimes it's good to just move forward. Try it. See what happens. It's amazing that life has a way of unraveling understanding, unraveling help, unraveling answers, unraveling solutions for you as you move forward. I often take the example of a string or a rope that's in a knot. The rope does not want to be in a knot, or the string. It doesn't want to be in a knot, but it is. But what happens is if you start to pull on it a little bit, it'll help you to unravel it. It'll start showing you the secrets, the mysteries, the ideas, the understanding to help you fully unravel that thing. And that's how you get to where you want to be, just a little bit at a time. So I want to ask you right now, stick with me for just a few minutes because we're going to talk about what happens when you don't know what to do. Is it a setback? Is it a setup? What is going on here? We're going to talk about that in just a second. I see some people have already started logging on, and I am so happy to see you. I see my wife is on, my beautiful wife, Tarsha. I love you so much, baby. I can't even tell you how much, but I'll try anyway. No, I'm not going to sing today, but just know that I love you. And to my little bean, Nala, if she's watching, happy birthday, baby. My daughter just turned 4 on the 5th of September, and she is excited about it, y'all. She is having so much fun. Oh, my goodness. She's just started going to her big person school, and she's excited about that. Beautiful, what exactly can I call it? It's a daycare, but she is so excited, and she's getting ready to start learning and growing and building and getting herself ready, so when she gets ready to go to elementary school, she'll be already in the groove. So show some love to her. I also see my brother on here, Aaron Gladman. Man, it's always good to see you, brother. Very wise brother. I'd love to see you have a show, man, because I enjoy just some of the posts that you do on the norm, just what comes naturally to you. Some people have to work hard for that, so you should be giving that out. You should be letting other people experience you more often, okay? Because he's hilarious. He's got a great personality, got a great sense of humor, and just smart. Got a keen sense about him, and I love that. So, man, thank you so much for watching. I see Deborah Hill on. Thank you so much for watching. I love you so much. God bless you. We love you. It's good to see you, and I'm happy to see you on here. And then I see my father, the wonderful, incomparable Pastor Alfred C. Wilson Sr., and I do not say that jokingly. I think he is one of the greatest men on the face of the planet. I think he's the greatest man I've ever met in my life. My father, Alfred C. Wilson Sr., greatest man I ever met in my life. And I'm so thankful that you're watching. I don't want to take too much time getting started into my talk today, because I got something that I think we need to discuss here. And then last person I see for right now is a dear friend of mine, former co-worker of mine, Scott. Man, love you so much. If you're looking at the last name and saying, how do you pronounce that? It took me a minute, but I got it. He had to coach me through it. But it's Scott Skierczewski. Great brother. Thank you so much, man, for joining me this morning. And, well, I guess it's afternoon now, isn't it? It's after 12. So let's get back to the thing. Was it a set up or a setback? What are you talking about, Al? Here we go. We move out in life. We start operating, we start doing, and we get an idea in our head. Something pops up and says, wow, I think I could do this as a career, or I think I would like to do this. It's a passion of mine. I'd like to move forward in it. And then as soon as you start moving forward, it seems like everything starts coming against you. What is that about? I mean, how does everything, I mean, did all of these problems get together and start conspiring, saying, okay, listen, Al is about to start thinking about buying a house, or Al is about to start thinking about going back to school, or maybe Al is going to start thinking about his own business now, or maybe Al is going to go into a new job or a new job field, or whatever the situation might be. Maybe it's expanding the family. Maybe it's just you taking on a new attitude in life. Maybe you've done things a certain way for so long, and now you just want to change it. You want to start moving differently. Maybe it's the way you handle money. Maybe it's the way you handle friendships. Maybe it's the way you handle relationships, things of that nature. And it's the moment you start, everything just starts going bonkers. Why is that? How does that happen? And why does it seem like it's only happening to me? That's the question. Now, I'm sure many of you have experienced that. If so, I would just love for you to type in the comment section and say, yeah, me too, because I believe it's all of us. It's not just one of us. And that's the first issue that we have to conquer and understand. No, it is not just you that this is happening to. It happens to everyone. Everyone experiences some form of setback in their life. Now, the question is that we have to target and tackle, is the setback, or is it actually a setback, first of all, or, well, how else should I look at it? Because it feels like a setback, right? I mean, I'm doing good. I'm starting to get bills paid off, and then all of a sudden another bill pops up that I didn't expect. I got blindsided by it. I got hit over the head by it. And now here this thing is in my face, creditors calling me every day. What do I do now? Was it a setback? Or is it possible that it's a setup? I felt like things were going great with this new person that I met, relationship that I'm in, and everything is seeming to be on the up and up. And then, boom, as Dr. Stanley Scott says, pothole, boom. What happened? Was it a setback or is it a setup? Sometimes it's hard to tell. They seem so close in nature, a setback and a setup. It seems as if the momentum that I want to move at, the moment I start making that momentum happen, or it seems like everything's are happening, the wheels are turning in the direction that I want them going in. The wind is behind me. It's pushing me instead of me going against the wind. It seems like all of these things are working out, and then something happens. The ball drops. I find out some news or some information that I didn't know. I'm trying to get certified, or I'm trying to get a degree in this particular field, and now here comes something else that I didn't expect to happen. Now it seems like I'm going to have to put it on hold, or I'm going to have to walk away from what I was intending, and I don't know what to do now. That happens to everyone. That happens to everyone at some point in life. My father says it this way. He says, if it hasn't happened to you yet, just keep living. Just keep living. It'll happen. You'll find out. Why? Is it a bad thing? Is it horrible? Let's jump to the nitty gritty of it, because I know that's what you're waiting on. I think we all got the premise. We all got the basis of it. What's the real nitty gritty of it? The truth is, and I want you to write this down because I think this is going to help you. I heard Dr. Miles Monroe say something years ago, and it sticks with me every day. Even when it feels like it's not sticking with me, it is. It's in there. All dreams have to be authenticated. Say that with me. All dreams have to be authenticated. Say what you're saying, Al. Make it a little bit more plain. When you have a dream, when you have a desire, when you have a goal, when there's something that's burning inside of you, and you feel like this is what I need to do with my life, this is one of the reasons why I believe that I'm here. Or maybe it's just something you haven't got to that point of thinking about it, but maybe it's just something that you're really seriously passionate about. Your heart desire tells you, I need to go and do this, whatever it is. When something comes up to be seemingly against that, it all depends on how you view it. In other words, I'm talking about perspective. How do you perceive what has happened? Interesting thing about gold and lead, I'm told that there's only a small, tiny little fragment of an element that makes the difference between whether something is gold and whether something is lead. Whether it's a neutron here or a proton here or a particle here or a molecule there or an atom here or there, whatever it is, they're almost identical. It just depends on what the market calls for at the time. At this time, gold is everything. So, everybody loves gold. Lead over here is feeling like, well, man, I got played. I'm pretty much the exact same thing, but everybody loves gold just because of one little. The point of it is perspective. Okay, that's what I'm trying to get at. Perspective. How you view it. Do you view things? Everything is against me. Woe is me. Oh my gosh, life is just horrible. Or can you view things from a different perspective and say, wait a minute, maybe it's not what I think it is. Maybe it's not as bad as I think it is. Let me give you an example. Let me give you a great example. I see some more people have chimed in. It's so good to see you. Victoria Pearson. Hey, you know what? I'm really excited that you're watching this. As you know, I'm a new student. We know what that's about. I'm not going to talk about it right now on this show, but I am so inspired by everything that you share and everybody else in the group shares. So I really appreciate it. I see, hey, Brother Kevin, God bless you, man. Good to see you too. Mark Scott, love you, brother. And then also Jacqueline Moore, my sister. And I mean that literally, y'all. She's married. She's married to my wife's brother. Let me make sure I get that right. I don't want anybody to think something going on down south. But so that's how we are related. But even more so than that, I don't call her a sister-in-law. She's just my sister. She's a wonderful woman of God, and I love her family, and can't wait to see you all. But let's get back into this perspective thing. And what I would like to do for just a moment is to take it to something that all of us have felt at some point in life. If you see me look down every now and then, I'm just kind of looking to respond to people who are chiming in. I love you all. Thank you so much. Don't forget to like it if you're here. If you are here and you're watching and you enjoy what I'm saying, please be sure to like it. Please be sure to share it so that more people can see it. Now, one thing that we lose perspective on quite often is work, our job. Okay, I know I'm probably preaching to the choir, but how many of us at some point in life, depending on what job it is, probably all jobs, we always feel like, you know what, I this just doesn't seem to be working out. I'm putting in all these hours, I'm working hard, I'm trying to do, I'm grinding every day. I get up at whatever time in the morning and I go to work and I stay there all day and I give them a full 8 hours, and then I got to get back home and I got to do all of that all over again every single day. There's a song I remember hearing, and it says, I believe I can tell the future because it looks just like my past. It's funny. We get into a rut, and every day looks just like the day before it. And we get into this mundane kind of mindset, and it really starts to bog us down. We start to lose passion. We start to lose excitement. Most of all, we get frustrated because the money that we make on the job usually is not enough to take care of everything that we need, right? We've got several bills. We got the mortgage or rent. We've got car note. We've got insurance. We've got lights. We've got gas. We've got water. We've got living expenses, food. We've got maintenance, all types of needs that are grabbing and pulling at the income that we make from this job. And so what happens is, over time, tell me if it's you or not. I know I used to feel this way before my mind changed. You get to the point where you get so upset, you start to blame the job. The job is evil. The job is bad. The job is mean. The job is wrong. They're sharks down there, and they're crooks, and they're not paying me what I'm worth, and I'm so mad, and I'm so frustrated, and I hate this place. And you got to then try to tell yourself, no, tell yourself, I like my job. I like my job. I like my job. And you know that doesn't work. Because you know when you get right back to the office again, or when you get right back to the job, whatever type of job you do, you know it's going to happen all over again. You can already see the frustration. You can already feel it. Your shoulders are already getting tense. And you're contemplating, what if I just didn't go? And then, of course, immediately your mind changes because you know you got bills, you got responsibilities. And so we have a tendency to perceive the job as an enemy. And it becomes common knowledge, especially colloquial, that everybody feels the same way. So now it's the employees against the bosses. It's the employees against the company. There's this big, huge feud going on. What are we supposed to think from that? Well, first of all, let me ask you what your perspective is regarding work. Do you have the right? Okay, I was just trying to see if anybody else joined us. Do you have the right perspective, first of all? Now, I'm not here to blast you or call you out or talk about you and say that you have the wrong perspective, but I want to give you another perspective. And this is just to make the point of what I'm saying today about perspective. Is it possible that you look at the job for the wrong reason, and you hate the job for the wrong reason? You have an anger and a bitterness against the job for the wrong reason. Go a little bit deeper, Al. Okay, I'll go a little bit deeper. If you ever look at the word job, you will find that it's an old word. In most cases, somebody English is going to take credit for it. But it's an old English word. Every time you look at the etymology of a word, you're going to see it's old English somewhere, maybe a piece of Latin thrown in, but usually it's going to be old English, middle English, somewhere around there. So where does this word job come from? The word job, if you look at it, means peace. Somebody say that again, peace. And I don't mean like peace be still or Lord shower down your peace upon me. No, I'm talking about peace, P-I-E-C-E. That's what job means. Another translation of that is piece of work. Piece of work. Al, I don't see where you're going with this. Hold on. It'll come together in a second. I'm talking about perspective. if you think about what the word job means, and then think about what job was intended to do, then you may consider that the perspective that you have about your job might maybe need to change a little bit. Maybe we've been looking at it the wrong way. For example, if job means peace or piece of work, that's how they actually used to say it. Imagine, if you will, people trying to find work and they go up to someone who owns an establishment, or they own a business. Maybe it's in agricultural capacity, or maybe it's whatever. And they walk up to them and say, do you have a job of work for me? Or in other words, a piece of work for me. Why are you saying this? Because the point is that a job is only a piece. That's all it was ever intended to be. Do you understand what I'm saying? All the job was intended to do was to be a piece of your income. So the income that you receive from it was never intended to cover all of your needs. It was never intended to do so. So yeah, I can understand why a person would get frustrated. I can understand why I used to get frustrated about, why is this job not giving me everything I need? Why am I working so hard and this job is not covering all of my bills? It's because it was only intended to be a piece of what you need. If you've got, let's just say, a pie chart, and you've got 8 different expenses in that pie chart, your job was never intended to cover all of the expenses in that pie chart. Just maybe 1 or 2, maybe 3. If you get a really good paying job, maybe 5. So then what about the rest of the pieces of this pie? Exactly. That's the point. And your frustration develops and you feel like you're being set back because the harder you work, the less you make. Well, let's look at this from the boss's perspective for a moment, okay? Can we do that? A company is in business to do what? Come on, sing it if you know it. It's okay. You can shout it out. I see some more people. Brendel, good to see you. Good to see you, sister. And then also Daniel Jones, Lord Dan. Man, I miss you, brother. You got to call me, man. We got to get together. It's been too long. Okay, let me get back to this. Look at it from the boss's perspective. When a company goes into business, they go into business to do what? To make money. Let's get more specific on that. To make a profit. You can make money, but after your expenses, you may not have a profit. So what do they go into business for? To have a profit margin. What is business essentially? When you go into it from a capital point of view, I'm going into business to get the maximum result with the least amount of input. I want the maximum profit for the least amount of expenses, which means if they are going to have a maximum profit, and they started the business, it was them, they started the business, then they don't want to spend a whole lot because that's going to dip into their profit margin. If you go into business, you're hoping for the same thing, right? You want to find out how to keep your expenses low and get your profits up high. Now, listen, think about it from the perspective of the company. They cannot do that by funding your whole life. Mic drop. No, I can't because it's on a stand here. They cannot do that by funding your whole life. They can't. They can't. The companies did not go into business to be benevolent. Companies did not go into business to become philanthropists. They did not do that. So we have to think about that when we talk about companies and say, wait a minute, am I hating you for the wrong reason? Now, I admit, there's probably some people that you come up against at your job, and there's all kind of different personalities. It takes all types of personalities to make the world go round. Maybe people could be a little bit nicer. Maybe people could be a little bit more considerate. But at the end of the day, it's a business, and they got to get the most out with the least in. So I'm going to pay you what I can pay you to keep my profit margins where I can realize them and experience them and enjoy them. That's what a business owner does. What does that mean to you as the person working? It means that you've got to get out of the box of thinking that this job is supposed to be the end all be all for all of my needs. And you've got to start thinking outside of the box. You got to start thinking, how do I maximize the time that I have, which is what I'm trading for this money that they give me. I'm trading my time for this income. I still have more time left in the day. What can I do to maximize that time? That's what you have to start thinking about. So what happens is your job, if you look at it properly, becomes a stream of income, just a stream. One stream of income is what your job is. It's your responsibility, should you choose to accept, to take it further than that and say, hey, you know what? Maybe I can get another stream of income going. It's possible, yes. We need another stream and another stream. I figure this way. If I've got 5 bills, I might need 5 streams of income. And if I have 5 streams of income, then maybe there's going to be enough surplus at the end of the expenses to really enjoy something. Do you see where I'm going with that? So again, the point is perspective. Is the job a setback? No, the job might not be a setback per se. What happens is, how do you view it? If you're hating it and it's just evil and it's just destroying you, then maybe you need to say, am I looking at this right, first of all? Secondly, you need to ask yourself, is there another way I can do something to take the pressure off of the job? Because I'm putting a whole lot of pressure on the job to give me everything I need. I'm expecting this one job to be my source, my supply, my strength, everything. It is not, family. It is not. You know that as well as I do. So then we need to start investigating other avenues, other streams. I remember reading in the book of Genesis, and I'm sure many of you did as well, that there were 4 rivers that came out of the Garden of Eden. Do you remember reading that? You were there, weren't you? I saw you there. You were there. There were 4 rivers that came out of the garden. 4 streams. There was a source, which was the garden, and then there were 4 streams, and those 4 streams went out and watered everything that was needed. Now, the reason why I'm saying that is this. Maybe it's time for you to start considering some new streams. If you have some other streams, then you'll have a lighter idea. Does that mean more work? Yeah, but is that a setback? No. What is it? It's a setup. Come on, somebody. High five, air five. Okay, all right. Because sometimes you have to do a little bit more to have a little bit more. And if you put the job in its right context, you won't hate it so bad anymore. And the world will open up to you and you'll have more ideas than you can imagine. So that's the reason why I wanted to talk about that for just a moment, so you can understand perspective. Stop hating your job, okay? Don't hate it. Don't hate it. You applied for it. Now you need to understand that just because you applied for it does not mean that it's going to give you everything you need. It's going to give you some part of what you need. Appreciate it for the part that it plays in your life. Appreciate it for the part of the income that it provides you, and then start looking for other sources. Find ways to branch out. Find ways to expand yourself. Now, getting back to my main point, when you start to do that, yes, you are going to come up against opposition. Things are going to start happening. You're going to start thinking about all the problems that you've had. Many things that you've never really paid attention to are going to start popping up in front of you. So it's not new issues. It's issues that have already been there, always have been there, but now you're paying attention to them more closely because you're trying something different. Okay? Do you remember we talked about that just a little while ago? All dreams have to be authenticated. All dreams have to be authenticated. That's what Dr. Miles Monroe said. What does he mean by that? If you have a real dream and you're serious about it, if you have a real goal, if you have a real vision for yourself, and you really want something to happen, scenarios, situations, circumstances, obstacles, hurdles are going to come at you. Why? Is it to deter you from doing what you're doing? Is it to stop you? Is it to destroy you? Is it to just wreck your confidence, wreck your desire, and send you back home with your tail between your legs? No, that's not what it's for, because it needs to make sure that you are absolutely serious about what you're setting out to do. For example, if you say you want to go and join the army, you want to go fight in the war, let's just say, the first thing they're going to do is what? Put you in basic training. Basic training. And what is basic training going to do? Basic training is going to give you mud to run through. You're going to have to run a certain number of miles per day. You're going to have to do a certain number of push-ups. You're going to have to do a certain number of pull-ups. You're going to have to climb over that wall. You're going to have to walk across that rope. And they're going to put obstacles in your path. You're going to have to crawl through tires and all types of different things. You have to wake up at 5 o'clock or 4 o'clock in the morning and go run. And you got to have your bed perfectly made every day. And you got to have your shoes polished and all that. Why are you putting all of these problems in front of me if you want me to go over and fight a war? Because your vision to serve your country needs to be authenticated. We need to make sure that you are absolutely serious and ready for what's going to take place. We need to make sure that you are conditioned for types of terrain that you are not used to walking around on the hardcore streets of Malibu and West Bloomfield. You need to experience some rocky terrain. You need to experience some different climates, so that when you get to that place where you're going to defend the nation or you're going to defend another nation or whatever the case may be, that you have authenticated that you're serious about what you're doing. A lot of people wash out. Is it a horrible thing? No. Many people thought they wanted something until they actually get the reality of what it is. I remember when I desired to go to school for aerospace engineering. Many of you know that. I wanted to go to school for aerospace engineering, and oh my goodness, I just felt like this is it for me. This is what I want to do for my life. And I didn't know a thing about being an aerospace engineer, aeronautical engineering. I didn't know a thing about it. I had never heard anybody who wanted to be one. I just met one young man who could draw really well, and he drew an airplane, a jet airplane. I was sitting right there. He was on my porch. He came to visit my sister, and this was when we were much younger. I was probably in 8th grade, 7th or 8th grade, and he drew an airplane so amazing. And he said, I'm going to go to school to be an aeronautical engineer. That's all I knew. Here's the thing. I knew I liked flying. I loved Superman movies. I figured, hey, this has got to be the career for me. But when I finally got there and find out what it was really all about, what engineering was all about, when I found out the level of mathematics that you had to learn, all the courses you had to take, it wasn't just algebra and trigonometry and geometry. No, I'm talking about calculus 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. I'm talking about differential equations. I'm talking about physics, and I'm talking and I started thinking to myself, wait a minute here. What happened was I found out that what I thought I wanted, I didn't really want. My vision for myself, my dream, my goal was being authenticated. So all of the roadblocks that I felt like I was getting, the homework from the professors and having to go to class and having to read 2 or 3 books and all of these types, I thought it was just mean. I thought I was being mistreated. I thought it was just wrong. No. These were hurdles and obstacles that were testing me to see if I was really serious about what I wanted. And come to find out, no, it wasn't what I wanted. Now, some may say you dropped out. Yep, we can call it that. But what I found out was that there was another calling inside of me that was pulling on me even more. And I was trying to get away from that and go into doing something else. So I took that and I found out, that wasn't my real vision. That wasn't my real desire. How do you know when you really are serious about what you want to do? Because no matter what comes your way, you'll keep moving forward. No matter how bad you get hurt, no matter how upset you become, no matter how discouraged at times you become, you keep moving forward. That's when you know your dream is authentic. That's when you know your vision, the vision that you say you have for yourself. That's how you know it's authentic. And that's what keeps you motivated. That's what keeps you moving forward. Am I the only one that experiences any of this? Because I don't see any comments. Are you just listening? I hope you're just listening and enjoying. If so, that's good. I appreciate it. Thank you for listening. But it's really wonderful when you can jump in there with me and give a comment to let me know that you are feeling what I'm saying, or maybe you have even a better way of saying it. If you do, that's fine for me. Okay, but every situation that comes in your life is not a setback. It's not a setback. You have to go through the fire if you want to be pure. Al, I need you to say that a little bit clearer, man, because you're starting to concern me. You're starting to sound like some crazy wacko dude. No, think about fire. Think about fire and what it does, its ability to purify. Think about gold. Let's go back to gold for a moment. Gold is one of those types of elements that has to be purified. And the only thing that can purify it is fire, something hot enough, something fervent enough to heat it up to the point where all of the impurities that are within it are removed. That's what happens. That's what happens in life. When you say, this is what I want, then everything is going to start happening. Every issue is going to start popping up. Every scenario, every situation, even people in your own family will start to say things that just seem off the wall to you sometimes, maybe, and you don't know why. Where is this coming from? How is it that you're throwing me all this shade all of a sudden now because I've decided to move forward in this new career or in this new determination that I've made, this new lifestyle that I want to live? Maybe you're ready to live a healthier lifestyle. And now it seems like everybody is just cooking green beans, potatoes, macaroni, cheese, green. It seems like everybody is just inviting you to parties where there's tons and tons of food. What's happening? Your vision for your life is being authenticated. Okay, that's all that's happening. That's what's happening. And yeah, it gets frustrating. I'm telling you, it gets lonely. It gets angry. Sometimes you feel like, oh my goodness, I just want to go sit in the corner and hug my knees and just rock back and forth. It happens. Excuse me. It happens. And you feel like this is only happening to me. I'm in this by myself. I'm in this pressurized cabin or cell, or something's holding me back and I can't break free. Have you ever had that feeling like what you wanted was just right in front of you? I mean, dangling like just inches in front of your fingers and you just couldn't reach it. And you get so tired of waiting and you keep thinking to yourself, man, when is this thing going to break? Listen, I know what that's like. We all know what that's like. Everybody in here, everybody in this group who's just, hey, and my cousin Anita, she can tell you too. Everybody can tell you what it's like to have that feeling like, oh my goodness, am I ever going to reach that goal? Am I ever going to get to that place that I want to be? Am I ever going to get there? Why is it not happening for me yet? Why is it not breaking out? When's the breakthrough? What does it all mean? Everybody experiences that. What you have to recognize in your experience is that you have to be sure of what you want. Because believe it or not, that's not the biggest problem that's coming toward you. Al, don't speak anything on me. I got enough already. I'm not trying to speak anything on you. I'm telling you that sometimes what we think is the actual problems in our life aren't problems at all. They are just the training ground for what's actually going to happen. You don't believe me? You need an experience. You need a scenario. You need a case study. Let's go to the book of Matthew in the Bible. Is that all right? Can we go to the book of Matthew? And something happens. Jesus just gets baptized by John the Baptist. The Father of glory, the Heavenly Father, shouts down from heaven and says, hey, I just want y'all to know this is my son. He's my man. He's all right with me. I'm very pleased with him. Now that seems like that should be the get up and go to make you want to just say, I believe I can fly. I can go out and do anything I want to. But no, what happens? As soon as that takes place, as soon as the moment of glory that seems anybody would want to have happen, God said he was pleased with me. How much more? I am the man. Give me all the credit. I don't even have to audition anymore for movie roles. I don't have to interview for your job. I don't have to do anything because God said that he was pleased with me. No. What happens next in Jesus' life? You know it. He gets pushed into the wilderness. Into a wilderness, a dry, barren place, nothing around. It wasn't like there was no 7-Eleven on the corner. No, there was no Piggly Wiggly. No, there was no A&P, there was no Farmer Jack, there was no Kroger. No, there was no Starbucks. Oh my gosh! Yeah, there was no Starbucks around. None. No. He's out there in the wilderness, nothing happening, nothing going on. And he's hungry and he's thirsty. 40 days, nothing to eat. 40 days he fasted. Now that seems like to us, if we would kind of scale that to our situation, it seems like that would be the testing and trying period. 40 days, that takes a lot of self-discipline. I thought that the test, I thought that the trial, I thought that the pressure was disciplining myself. 40 days, no food, no water. No, that wasn't the test. When did the tester come? When did the tempter come? When did the devil come to him? After he had been hungry for 40 days and 40 nights. That's when the real test came. It wasn't the 40 days of not eating. It was what happened at the end of it, at the end of the fast. Then the devil comes and you know the story. He says, hey, look, I'll give you all of this. I'll give you all of that. He says, matter of fact, let's start with this. He said, you've been hungry. Go ahead and make these stones right here. You got the power. You the son of God, right? Ain't you? Don't you think you're the son of God? He says, you got the power. Go ahead. Turn those stones into bread and go ahead. Just go ahead. Set up a Panera Bread right there. Set up a shop right there. Go ahead. Enjoy it. I'll bring the spread. Have a bagel, whatever you want. Pastry, croissant, what do you want? Enjoy. And he had to reject that. Don't let good get in the way of great. Woo! Mic drop. That's a great book too. If you haven't read that book by Jim Collins, there's a book called Good to Great. His name is Jim Collins. Check that book out. It'll change your life. And it's dealing with business. He took a look at businesses, but there's a whole lot to be said about how you can translate that into what you're dealing with in your own personal life. So he deals with that and he gets past it. Then he says, okay, now he says, I'm going to take you up a little bit higher. He takes Jesus up into a very high place and he says, go ahead, cast yourself down. And you're the son of God, right? Go ahead and throw yourself down there. The angels will catch you because it says that, you will not dash your foot against a stone. That's what the word says, right? That's what the Bible say. King James Bible. Y'all crazy. I'm telling you, y'all crazy. And what does he say? No, I'm not going to tempt God. He had to put that behind him. Then he goes on. He says, look, here's all these kingdoms of the world. Take your pick. He says, I'll give them all to you. All you got to do is fall down, worship me. He says, nah. I don't think that's going to happen either. Get on away from me. But the issue is that the 40 days, which you and I would have said, oh, that was so hard. That was so terrible. That was so tough. That was so intense. No, the real test comes after you've gone through some things. Another place in the word it says, after you have suffered, I like to say it this way, after you have suffered sufficiently. After you have suffered a while. Oh boy, man. My intention wasn't to preach today, but I'm hoping that you're understanding where I'm coming from. Just because something happens in your life that slows you down, you started the business, but then here comes the financial paperwork, and here comes the state issues, and here comes the city issues and local government issues. And now you got to deal with taxes in a whole different bracket, and you got to deal with this. And it all seems like setbacks. It's not a setback. Go ahead and let these situations, these issues that come upon you, let them be authenticators for your vision. Let them be telltale signs that you are not going to stop moving forward. Let them be indicators to let you know that you are actually moving in the right direction. And the reason why you're experiencing all of this now is because you're trying to do something different. Les Brown said, the only time you're going to experience turbulence is when you're trying to go higher. Woo! My goodness. I felt like I could go in right there. If I had an organ. Don't play with me right now. I feel my help coming on. But that's what happens. And it's going to happen with you. It's going to happen in relationships. You're going to find some bumpy water and you're going to think, "Oh my goodness, hold on just a minute now. Don't jump ship and bail unless you got good reason to." Now, I mean, if it's Charles Manson, go ahead, get out of there. Yeah, do what you got to do. Jet, if this person, looking like they going to do something, go on, get away. Don't let yourself be a unnecessary victim. But what I am saying is, don't look incorrectly at something that could be correct just because you're feeling a little bit uncomfortable. Sometimes uncomfortability is a great place. It does not feel good, but sometimes it's the best. I'm sure that a person who's being transported to the hospital does not feel good when they have to be strapped down on some rickety, rackety, rolling bed, and they have to be inside of a vehicle that doesn't have great suspension in the back of it, and there's metal all over the place, and there's no good shocks on the vehicle. But guess what? That little moment of uncomfortability might be the thing that saves your life. Because if you would rather be, just laid back on the couch in the back of the ambulance, you might find yourself in a difficult situation later on. So you deal with the uncomfortability as it comes. Deal with it, accept it. It does not mean that you have to become absolutely detained by it. It does not mean that you should become so used to it that you just expect problems to arise to the point where you have no inspiration to move forward anymore. No. Recognize that what comes against me, or what seems to come against me, what seems to be a setback, is not a setback, it's a setup. If my father says this, and he said his mother told him this as well, and I hope that you catch this. She said, if you're not coming up against the devil at some point, you might be walking right next to him. Yeah, every now and then you're going to need to have something come against you, and it helps you to know that you're going in the right direction. One of my favorite poems, I believe it was by Frost, "The Road Less Traveled." How many people know that poem? If you know that poem, put in the comment section. Yeah, I know that poem, Al. It talks about the two roads that diverged in Yellow Wood. You remember that in high school? And sorry, I could not travel both and be one traveler. Oh man, I'm not going to go into the whole thing. But the point is that if you are on a narrow road, it may seem very difficult to remain on. It may seem very lonely. It may seem very boring. It may seem very constricting. But stay on that road, because at least you know the direction that you're going in. You see what I'm saying? Now, if you go out to the wide road, which could be as wide as a desert, you may not know if you're going north, south, east, or west. You might find yourself singing like Erica. Ooh, hey. I'm trying to decide. I do not own the rights to that music. Which way to go? Think I made a wrong turn back there somewhere. Yeah, you could find yourself in that scenario, and you don't want to do that. So listen, every situation is not a setback. It's a setup. It's to get you to where you say you want to be. Are you really sure that's what you want? Are you really certain that you want that? Do you really want to go into ministry? Are you sure you want to go into ministry? Do you really want to have a better relationship with your children? Are you sure? Do you want to have a better relationship with your spouse? Do you really want more people to know who you are in business? Are you sure about that? Because it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be easy. And let's throw some things out there to make sure that that's what you want. Man, it sounds like I'm preaching. Brother Jonathan Green, man. How you doing, bro? Hope you're feeling better, man. Listen, every situation is not a setback. You need to make sure that you want what you want. It's interesting to me that Jesus asked the man who had been sitting at the pool for 38 years, sick of the palsy. It's amazing to me that instead of him just healing him, because if I walked up, I would have said, "Oh, this man needs to be healed." And no, Jesus says, "Do you want to be healed?" You ever think about that? Man, yeah, I've been laying here for 38 years. I'd be sick of the palsy too. Yeah, 38 years. What do you mean to ask me, do I want to be healed? Because if you really want to be healed, then you got to think about some things. You've been laying here 38 years, man. Somebody's been taking care of you for 38 years. Somebody's been bringing you clothes. Somebody's been bringing you food. Somebody's been cleaning you up. Somebody's been changing whatever needs to be. We'll call it a depend. Do you really want to be healed? Because that means now you got to go get ID. That means now you got to go get a social security number. That means now you got to start, working. You got to pay for your own food. You got to pay for your own clothes. You got to pay for your own place to stay. You see? Many people who say they want to be healed, they're not sure. So we need things to come against us that look like they're coming against us, but they're actually there just to authenticate that what we say we want is really what we want. I hope that what you get out of this is that when you start to look at scenarios and situations and what you call problems in your life on a daily basis, maybe it's not a problem. Maybe it's not a setback. Maybe it's not something that's just coming against you because it doesn't like you. No, maybe it's there to confirm that what you believe is what you truly believe. And that you won't turn back, and that you won't look forward, and that after you've put your hand to the plow, you're not going to turn around and go back the other way. Maybe that's what they're there for. Maybe that's what these issues are happening for. Maybe that's why now you're paying attention to all kind of rhetoric and talk and things people are saying, and it seems like it's all pointed at you. No, they always been saying those things. It's now you're paying attention to it because you're a little bit more focused now. Don't let it deter you. Don't let it default you. When you get that thing in the mail that makes you just say, oh my gosh, I thought I was moving forward, and now here comes a bill. I thought I was moving forward. Now this thing, this person is it's in collections. I thought I was doing okay, and now they want to take my car. When those things happen, recollect yourself and say, wait a minute. Maybe it's because I'm moving in the right direction. Maybe it's because I'm trying to change. It takes a lot to change. It takes a lot to change. It takes a lot to go from one state to another state. Think about the pressure that a baby has to go through from going inside the womb of the mother to the outside world. That is a very pressurous and troublesome process. It's not just hard on the mother, it's hard on the baby as well. But you're going from one realm to another. There's always going to be something that you have to break through. There's always going to be something that you've got to get squeezed through. So don't think of it as an ending to your life. No, it's the birth. It's a new beginning. It's something to authenticate that you really do want to be here in this world, and that you really do have a purpose, and that you are going to make it. That's what that's about. I don't know what else I can say. I hope you're getting something out of this. I'm glad to see you feeling better, bro. I only got a couple minutes left. Listen to me, family. Listen to me. It's going to take everything you've got to get to where you want to be. And you say to yourself, well, I'm already spread thin, Al. I don't know what else I can give. I don't have any more to give. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. And it's right up here. It's right up here. Give yourself the gift of changing your perspective. Give yourself the gift of trying to look at it from a new perspective, a different way. Give yourself the gift of thinking, yes, this is to build me. This is to make me stronger. This is to encourage me. This is to pump me up. I've got to gain some muscle, and I can't do that by pushing up air weights. You just can't do it. You can't do. I could do this 1,000 times a day. And if there is no weight in my hand, if there is no bar in my hand with some weights on it, guess what's going to happen? The most I'll do is be flexible, but I'll never gain muscle. And if you want your business to gain muscle, if you want your life to gain muscle, maybe it's your ministry, maybe it's your body, maybe it's your relationship with your spouse, maybe it's your relationship with your family, maybe it's just moving to a different neighborhood, having something that you've really wanted to have all of your life. Whatever it is, you have got to let these extras that come in do their part. Let them do their part. Let them have their day. Let them have their say. Accept them for what they are and move forward, knowing that you are moving in the right direction. I'll say it again. If you're not coming up against any obstacles, maybe you should check the direction that you're moving in and make sure it's the right one. All dreams, all visions must be authenticated. I hope you enjoyed it. I got to get out of here. I pray that you have a wonderful week coming up. Tomorrow, don't forget. Matter of fact, start today, but at least sometime this week, take a moment and thank God for what you already have. Thank God for what he's already blessed you with. Thank God for what he's already done in your life. Maybe you don't believe, in the whole churchy thing. I don't know. Whatever listen, God is still to be praised. He is still good. He is still on the throne. And you should thank him. Thank him for your life. Thank him for your life, because he's the reason you have it to begin with. Okay. So take some time to do that. Take some time to inspire somebody else. Take some time to write a new set of rules for yourself and say, you know what? I'm not going to keep complaining about my job. I'm going to recognize it and acknowledge it for what it is. It's just one stream of income. I'm not going to put the pressure on it, and I'm not going to badmouth and talk about it to be more than that. No, it can't take care of everything I have. It's just going to be one stream of income, and then start looking for some others. Acknowledge what you have in your life, appreciate it as such, and find out how you can build on it. Grow with it. Do something more. Take some of that time from watching the show that you love to watch and apply that to what you can do to move yourself forward. Just a little bit. I'm not saying take away all the fun from your life. No, we all need fun, but just do a little bit more. Just do a little bit more. Do a little bit more. Okay, for you Bible people, go a little bit further. Isn't that what the word says that Jesus did in the garden? And then he went a little bit further. Go a little bit further. Go a little bit further. Just a little bit further. Most people find success by going just a little bit further than the other person who stops too soon. Don't stop too soon. Don't get discouraged. Don't get frustrated. It's not a setback. It's a setup. I'm done. That's it. I love you so much. God bless you. Have a wonderful, wonderful week.
You are listening to Worship Radio International, the world's #1 online Christian radio station. Check out our website at www.worshipradio.faith or follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Worship Radio INT. This is the future.